guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I've been speaking about CVs, about LinkedIn, about video interviews for a very long time. So I've finally got myself to just sit down and work on this, considering we are in a very tough time right now, which is this pandemic. Many are applying for jobs, they want a change, or there's redundancies, salary cuts, and so much more. So I am not speaking about this from an expert, but from an expert level, but I am speaking about this from a person who has considerable amount of experience about the industry on what works and what doesn't work. So obviously this is based on my experience. I have about 4 to 5 years of work experience, and I speak to seniors, including recruiters, on a day-to-day basis. And these recruiters are from UK, from US, India, Dubai, UAE, everywhere. So yeah, it's just about best practices, what works, what doesn't work, and even what I did in general to get my job. Now, obviously, just a disclaimer, you can have a kick-ass CV, but if the content is not there, it may not really work. They're kind of like synonymous and they talk to each other, so it's not one over the other. But obviously at the end of the day, to have a good CV, I mean, you will only get noticed if you have a good CV per se. So let's get cracking. So the main intention of this tutorial is just how to make your resume or your CV, whatever you call it, stand out in general. The insights I'm going to give you is kind of what works globally, but for example, things like, okay, should your picture be there on your CV is at times not really seen necessary in US, but over here in UAE, I have seen a few companies appreciate that there is a picture, so they will be able to at least put a face to the CV, you know what I mean? Again, whatever I'm saying, there are exceptions and you kind of need to just work around that. Okay, so I just have a few notes over here that I am also reading from for you guys. So I'm kind of dividing this entire thing between basics, the design, the executive summary, your work history, and how it should be for a graduate CV, and general FAQs. So from the basics, I will just be verbally telling you what you're supposed to do, but when it comes from the design, I'll be sharing my screen and you'll be able to see my CV, what I do, how you design it. So you don't need to get any fancy softwares, any Adobe softwares to create the CV. There are so many templates that people sell online, so you don't have to buy that either, because I'm just going to give you a super easy way to do this. Okay, so let's begin with the basics. So when you export your CV, obviously the two most popular formats are PDF and .doc, which is Word document. PDF obviously is mainly used for like super designy CVs, and obviously if you do it as a plain classic white and black CV, that would be a .doc. Now the main reason we kind of export it to PDF or .doc is because the softwares that are used by recruiters in general, or what Google uses, they detect text. So the main reason that you don't export your CV as a PNG or a JPEG is because it's a picture. The recruiters would have to have super high-tech softwares in order to detect the text. I think it's called OCR. Yes, it's called OCR. So that's optical character recognition. If they have like OCR, when it detects characters, that's when they can read your CV. But obviously the easiest thing to use is PDF and .doc. If you go through like fonts and CV in general in Google, you'll find that people say that Times New Roman, Garamond, all these fonts are really good for CVs. But guys, I just want to tell you that Times New Roman and Garamond, all those fonts are quite old-fashioned. So if I just go to this one, the window that I just opened, sans serif fonts are always the best fonts that you can use for your CV. Now, if you use something like this, serif fonts. Oh, by the way, just to rewind a bit, serif fonts are like these that have sharp edges like that. It's very edgy. And then the sans serif fonts are the ones that are curvy and they're much easier to look at, which is why majority of the blogs and majority of the biggest companies in the world, they use similar to sans serif fonts. So obviously if you go back to these fonts, which are like serif fonts,
if you compare it with this and then you compare it with that, like, see, it's just quite obvious what is more easier to look at. So just do a quick Google research and see which sans serif font is best for you, and then you can use that in your CV.
The next thing is the layout and the design. What I've heard recently is that if you're super senior person or a C exec, they do entertain 3-page CVs because you just have a lot more to share and you have like 20-30 years experience with a lot of justification and factual data on what you want to present in your CV. But juniors or like managers, I mean any level, again, no discrimination, having a 2-page CV or a 2-sided CV is the best approach that you could take because you don't want to bore the person who is interviewing you. Now, at the same time, you should definitely remember that if you put all the information you have within your CV or even your LinkedIn, there's nothing the employer can ask you anymore. You have to always leave room for questions, and that is super important. Just put enough so they'll have some interest in knowing who you are. The other thing is cover letters. Now, cover letters, it might not be read at all. So you have to just ensure that your executive summary or the about section within your CV has to be impactful enough that makes them read everything else. Because you have only 15 to 20 seconds to grasp the attention of the recruiter, the headhunter, or your employer. Not every company needs a cover letter. The problem is, if you even Google cover letters, what would it be? It's just such a generic template. Oh, I'm a hardworking person, I'm a quick learner, I have leadership qualities, I gel well with my team. There are just so many things that you can put in, but again, it's just very generic, and all the other information that they need is within your CV anyway. You know what I mean? If a company does need a cover letter, submit it then, but if they don't need it, like, don't even create one, because if they do ask for a reference letter or if they do ask for your CV and then you have interviews, like, that would honestly suffice. So don't waste your time creating cover letters because that is seriously going out of trend/style now. Okay, the next thing is Boolean search. Now, this is something that recruiters use in general. I'll put up a screenshot over here for you just so you can see what strings they have. What recruiters do is in Google or in LinkedIn, in the search bar, they put a Boolean search. For example, I need a recruiter and a person who's experienced in HR, or an engineer and a person who is within tech, or a person who has design thinking skills and experience strategy. It could literally be anything under the sun. Now, the reason I'm telling you about Boolean is that Boolean search is the most popular form of search that recruiters use to find you. Now, the only way that recruiters can find you with your specific keyword is if that keyword even exists. I'm just going to tell you a short story about me. So when I was working in my previous company and I wanted a new opportunity and I was looking, my LinkedIn was normal, my CV was normal. So there's an option on LinkedIn, right, that the switch that is there, when you just turn it on, it shows recruiters that you are available and you are looking for a job. So that is what I did. Considering I have consultancy experience anyway, most of the recruiters were asking me if I have design thinking experience, and I was like, yes, I do have design thinking experience, but design thinking was just an everyday thing for me, and it was a technique that I used anyway on a day-to-day basis. So I didn't really think it was important to put it on my LinkedIn and on my CV. And then I realized that when I added it into my CV and my LinkedIn, I started getting more calls because design thinking is the next thing now. It's the next hit. So anyway, that is what I did, and then I started getting calls. So yeah, always remember that if you want to apply for a specific job, ensure there are specific keywords. So if you're in engineering and you want to apply to an account management role, or if like myself, I was in engineering and then I moved to tech, I just see what the JD is and then I kind of curate my CV according to what they need. So yeah, you should just be very smart about it. But obviously you can't just, like, if you want to be a doctor from like an engineer or something, that is kind of not possible unless you get a doctor's degree, you know what I mean? So it's just the skills that you have acquired in other domains that you can kind of put to use in the domain that you want to apply to. So yeah, remember keywords. Okay, so now I'm finally on my desk and I want to show you guys my CV and I want to show you everything that I've done so far and what you can do as well. Hopefully what I've told you so far has been beneficial. Now, obviously, I am aware that some of you are like experts already, so you guys would know most of it, but hopefully the next segment would be quite beneficial to everybody. Okay guys, so drum roll. This was my first CV.
Like, it was just black and white. And this is the other side of the CV. So this was when I came out of mechanical engineering, and basically I was kind of like a fresher. That was my first job, and yeah. Okay, guys, so this is my 2016 CV. I know it's cray cray. So I was kind of a fresher, and my first job was mechanical engineering. So that was mainly what my experience was, and then the others were just internships. I'm not very proud of it now that I see it, but obviously when I first created this, I was like, damn, this is amazing. So this is how my CV looks, and I even want to show you how my old CV looks. This was the CV right before the blue one. I kind of love pink. If you follow me, I'm sure you know. I created this, but then I just changed it to blue because I thought it was more professional, and I thought people would just think I'm just childish if I post a pink CV. And this is what the other side is. And then I did create a cover letter, and this is my cover letter. Now there were a few companies that required a cover letter, so I kind of used the same theme and the design, and I created a cover letter. Now obviously if you see my CV, it is blue. So I'm going to take you through my entire CV just after I state a few things on softwares. Now guys, as I mentioned, you can either use Adobe softwares if you're well versed with it, or what you could do is you could resort to PowerPoint. Now PowerPoint is a game changer. People think that PowerPoint is not nice at all just because they don't know how to use it. When I start showing you how exactly it is like beneficial, you'd be like, whoa, like you'd be like, what? This was possible? I didn't know that. So let me show you how I literally cracked PowerPoint and used it to my advantage. Now, before I proceed with PowerPoint, I just want to give a disclaimer. If you have some design experience, or if you have the aesthetic eye, now again guys, no offense, there are people who are good in design and there are people who are not good in design, and there's no right or wrong. So if you're not good in design, PowerPoint may not be the right approach for you, because you just have a blank slate, which is just a white piece of canvas, and you need to create something from scratch, which is a bit challenging if you don't have any design experience. So what you should do is you have two options. Okay, the first thing is type graphical modern CVs on your browser, on Google. Go to images and then just look at all the CVs that are there. Now obviously if you're a chef, if you're in the tech industry, if you're a blogger, if you're a content creator, if you're a filmmaker, if you're a designer, there are multiple types of CVs. Find something that inspires you, just select that and try to replicate it. How to replicate it, I will show you. Now say for example I chose this one, yeah, like as you saw my CV, it is slightly similar to this. Now I'll show you how to crack this. Just before I get into that, I want to show you something else. Okay, so Canva is a free software, right? But obviously it is very restrictive. If you want to do more with Canva, you need to pay for it. So if you just type resume in the search bar, you find all these designs and they're brilliant. Now for example, if I just click something like that, it just opens a new window and I can just create a CV just like that. Now again, as mentioned earlier, you can only do this much. You will be restricted, like you can't put different iconographies over here, because I mean there are elements that you can add, but most of them are paid. So over here you can just double click and then you can put whatever text you want. And then if you go back to the templates over here, you can see professional resumes, modern resumes, simple resumes, infographical resumes. And then once you like something, just select it and then just select it and there you go, bam, like it's that easy. Okay, so now in PowerPoint, let's just go step by step just so I actually tell you how I did this entire thing. First, create your master. I found something that was really nice for me, I mean as an inspiration. So this is what I created. Now if you see this, if you just put a slight gradient or if you put no gradient at all, again that's up to you based on your design preference. So that is what I did, and I just put that in my master directly. And then I took this image of me over here and I just removed the background, and that is like in the picture format. If you actually see, this is what the picture is, and I kind of just clicked color, set transparent color, and then I just chose the background, and then the background disappeared. So that is basically how I did that. Back to my image that's right here. So I just did this, and again, it's as simple as creating a gradient tool. Go back, and now in the about section, I have kept my description very short and crisp. I'm not going to go into details about who I am because this tutorial and webinar is just to show you what you can do in general. Needless to say, in the generation that we are in, many recruiters or employers do check your social media, right? So just ensure you don't have a crappy social media, as in you don't have anything that's very political or something incorrect. Let's not get into that. Okay, then you have your contact section. I've just removed my contact number for now, and then the email ID, and then the LinkedIn. Then there's your education section over here, and then the softwares that you've just used. Now, again, it may seem very stupid for a few, but these are literally the tricks of PowerPoint. You don't need Photoshop, you don't need Illustrator, you don't need any of that. So can you imagine? Look at this. It's literally just two shapes, and then you just... Now again, don't do this because it becomes big and small, and don't... Even if you use the shift key, sometimes it just becomes that, so don't use that. Just ensure everything is symmetrical, and just go to the width and reduce this or increase this. That's about it. And just ensure all the grays are of the same size, like as you can see, are all of the same size, and then ensure you just align it to the left like that. See, there's barely any movement. Yeah, and then you just distribute it vertically. See, and so there's no movement at all. So that's basically how you work on it. So just ensure that you have every types of detail about yourself just visually shown like nicely. Okay guys, so with your education, just be very brief about it. Like, after you work for 5 to 6 years, no one wants to know if you got an A grade in science or physics or mathematics, or if you were the captain of some team. I mean, obviously, if it was a huge achievement, just put one line. But again, people are not that interested, because once you keep climbing up the ladder, people just want to know what relevant experience you had in general. Now with my work experience, what I've always heard through recruiters is that if you keep speaking about how great you are, how well you perform in teams, your leadership qualities, all of that is just fluff at the end of the day. Because find me one person that doesn't have that in their CV. Most of them always have this fluff in their CV. So what you should always do is speak about it to an extent, not like exaggerating about it, or not like overflowing like with compliments about yourself, but put factual data. Like, for example, when I worked with the Do UX team for the digital transformation project, this was actually the insights and the results from the thing that I did. And then even when I worked as a strategist for DHA, these were actually the results that came out of it. Whatever you do, I'm pretty sure there is some evidence to back it up on how well did you succeed in that. So always ensure you mention that. Obviously, not every single thing is quantitative. Few things are qualitative, which I do understand. Maybe you could mention that, see my portfolio for more information. You know what I mean? Or even if it's customer support, even if a customer care or anything of that sort, it's like how many calls you made and what your turnover time is. So always be factual in what you put in your CV. I cannot stress enough on that, okay? Many companies now appreciate the fact that you have another life, or if you have a passion, yeah? Obviously, they want you to work your level best in the job that you have applied for, but it kind of adds a lot of value if you're kind of sharpening other skills on the side. Now with my blog in general, again, if you guys follow me on Instagram, if you see my blogs in general, there's a lot of photography involved, videography, design stuff, and a lot of media related things in terms of networking, in terms of public speaking, panel boards, and so much more. So whenever anyone needed a marketing strategist, or someone who has experience in advertisements, someone who knew how to take videos, pictures, put them on a green screen, change the background, do voiceovers, do instructional designing, tutorials, so on and so forth, because of my experience with the blog, people immediately picked on that, and I was kind of more of a valuable asset to the team because of the other experience that I have in general. So I feel that is super beneficial. You may think that you want to keep it like behind closed doors or behind the curtain, but trust me, it's always so beneficial. Now again, your passion could be anything. It could be like the piano, it could be singing, dancing, football, anything, but just try mentioning it. And obviously if you have backing towards that specific goal or your passion, always ensure you include that. Now if you don't have backing, like if you have this really cool passion that you think is really nice, that your employer would be super impressed about, even if it's cooking, try to find some ways to put that into your CV. That could be either creating a quick website, like a free blog, or taking pictures, again creating another portfolio, and just try to find innovative ways to kind of present that to your boss. Now again, if you see my other side, I have mentioned again every single thing that I believe I am good at. So that includes my statistics, which is Facebook, my website, and my Instagram. I need to change my website stuff because now I've officially hit more than 1.3 million views. So I definitely do want to highlight that. So even the panels that I have done, and even the magazines that I have been featured in, and I've mentioned like everything over here about conferences, being a spokesperson, so on and so forth. It kind of shows that I can speak, so people can immediately see how I speak before hearing me speak, if that makes sense. Look at this. Now this I found pretty cool, like what I did. Now if you see my other skills over here, these are just 2 circles. All you do is you take a random circle, which is that I would just reduce the transparency over here, right? And then I put another concentric circle. It's just a shape where like that, and then I just put an outline, and then that's about it. Look, literally guys, that's about it, you know. And then I put this, I copied the color from here and I put it over here, and then I just put that, and then it immediately shows if like how good of a fast learner I am. As you can see, it's a gradient, right? So all these colors are different. If I put this color over here, it's different, okay? Like you may not be able to see it, but what you do is you go over here. I'm not sure if you know this, that's why I'm just telling you guys about it, right? You go to more colors, okay? You get the paint, the ink drop tool. You click the color that's exactly outside that shape right there, and then you choose that, and then there you go. You know what I mean? So that's what you do. That's how you use the ink dropper tool. Now I just want to highlight one more thing. Remember speaking about Canva, these kind of icons that you see over here, yes, you can get it on Canva, but like most of these are all paid because they are because you're super hard to find. Now how do you find these icons? Go to Google here, okay, type briefcase icon, and guys, literally that's about it. So obviously just ensure that the background is PNG. So see, so this is a transparent background, right? Because you see these blocks things over here. So then you just copy it, right? You go over here, reduce the size, there you go. And then obviously this is black, so I go over here, go to picture corrections, put the brightness to the highest. You go that way, it's right here. And then like obviously right now I've put that briefcase over there, so you literally make it small, and then there you go. Like guys, it is so easy. Sometimes at times you don't really find the exact icons that you want, and I mean even if you find something, you mostly will not probably find it as a PNG. Now look, if I go to charity logo or a charity icon PNG, like I will not always find something that I want. It may either be cropped at the sides like that, or it will be super blurry, or maybe it will not be a PNG. So what you can do is, so just go to flaticon.com. If you go to flaticon.com, this is like, I think like almost all icons in the world. So let's put charity right here, click enter, and then you go to filters, you pop free, duh, because we all want to save money, and then you just do black outline. Obviously you can get black filled if you want as well, or you can get a multicolored one, basically the ones that are just colored. And then like guys, there you go, like all icons that you want to find are like right here. And then all you got to do is like go here, and you can just download whatever size you want over here, or you can download an SVG. You just copy it and then you paste it. Like, that's it. Obviously, wherever you can, please credit the owner. Okay, so now the next thing is QR codes. Now with QR codes, just remember to use it carefully. If you use your QR code in a digital CV, there's no point, because you can just use a URL and people can click it and they can go wherever they want to. QR codes are like big. They should be a considerable size for someone to use it, like click a picture and then like navigate to that website. So just use URLs, that's it, if someone has to click it. But if you want to print your CV, try putting a QR code wherever you can, because people can just hover through the QR code with your phone, and then it goes to your LinkedIn or your blog or wherever you want them to navigate to. Now the thing is with QR codes, again, I don't want you to create like a regular QR code that we usually find. So there's this really cool website called qrcodemonkey.com, and it is really nice because, let me just put my website, I'll show you why. Okay, and then you just go to set colors. Now obviously, as you can see right now, it's blue, so obviously it's perfect for me because my website is very similar as well, like that color. I can literally make it whatever pattern I want. And then if you want another color, like feel free to do so. And then you can even change the background color. Currently it's like white, right? And then you can go and add a logo in between, which is really cool. Now if I just upload a random picture and my logo is right here, and I put that, and then like there you go, like you can see it. But obviously this is a PNG, so if I had a white image, that would show. Then this is the coolest part. Okay, look, you can customize the design of your QR code. Like, oh my god. Now see, if I choose something like that, guys, this is freaking cool. Like, I've always liked QR codes like that because I find it very, very minimalistic and sexy. Now I can use that, and then I could probably just use a circle. So basically everything is consistently a circle. And then after that, all you can do is get a high quality or low quality, whatever you want to, download the PNG, or you can save it as an SVG, PDF, I mean, whatever you want to. And then there you go. Like, then you can just add that into your CV, you can add that into your business card, you can literally put it wherever you want. So that is my favorite website. Okay guys, so education is obviously a super key factor when it comes to graduates. Now what you can do is obviously elaborate on education as much as possible. One thing is, depending on the country, for example UK and US and the big companies like Google, Facebook, they do not concentrate on your education history anymore. Like, there are people who drop out of school only because they got a great job and they want to just enhance their horizon and their portfolio, and they just want to work, or they do their internship and they want to continue and they want to like leave school or college. So there is like absolutely no judgments in that, because sometimes those people also turn out to be super successful people, which is why education is not as important as it used to be. Now, I'm not telling you to like drop out. I'm just telling you what other countries do and what they deem. I do know many people who have not even finished their education. They don't have a degree. So in those instances, again, you don't need to put an education. But obviously, if you have a work history, you need to go all out on that to just prove that this is what you did. If you're a graduate, I wrote some things down. So what you can do is for sure put your education. Now, key achievements is obviously something that you definitely need to put in. Your grades, what did you achieve, extracurricular activities, charity work, internships if you've done any, your short thesis or reports, or any project that you did so far that you're really proud of. So please ensure you put that into your CV. References from teachers or peers is key. Like, if you're the teacher's pet, like that must be easy for you. Get some stuff from the principal, from the VP's office. That should be brilliant for you. Then if you've had any leadership positions in your school, ensure you put that as well. If you've done any event managements, like, when we were in school, we try to organize as many events as possible. So try to obviously put that, because it shows that you have leadership skills and that you can even handle people. Yeah, there's another thing that I've written, like failures is actually so important that people do not want to put out there. Okay, so for example, like, if you had a very bad accident, if you were like bedridden, or if you were in a wheelchair, or if you came out with something, if you had a really bad thing happen in your life and you came out of it, like, guys, like, for sure, try to mention that in your CV as well, because again, it shows that you're a very strong person and that you've come out of something that is far beyond anyone, and that is something that is like so respectful. Okay, so before I started recording this video, I actually got a lot of questions from my followers, from my DMs, from my comments, from emails, and you know, even face to face. So I try to address all of those as much as possible in this webinar, but there was one particular thing that I did not address. Someone asked me, does getting your CV professionally written from CV makers help you get a job? If so, which companies you suggest in UAE or websites we should apply to? I do not think that is the best approach, because guys, like, look at my CV. Like, look what I did. I remember I took nights to do this. You need to take a lot of time to create your CV. If you finish it in one day, like, probably there is something wrong, because you literally need to pour your heart and soul out into your CV, and there's no way you can gather all the evidence you've gone through in your entire life in like one night or in a matter of few hours. You should really know your stuff in order to do your CV. If you get someone else to do it, and probably a recruiter or your employer asks you questions like, hey, who worked on this CV? Like, what if they want to hire you to an extent, even because you're great in how you design, right? Or how you create decks and things like that, how you create a narrative, how you create a storyline. This is all acquired skills. It's not easy to get. So I mean, I never recommend someone creating a CV for you. You need to learn how to create it from scratch. It should be your blood, it should be your sweat, it should be your tears, it should just be your hard work. Yeah, but if you need advice from someone, you can get a professional to advise you. But again, I have never done that, because I have just checked YouTube tutorials myself. I've spoken to recruiters in my previous company and my current company, and I've spoken to seniors as much as possible. I've spoken to my parents, I speak to my partner, I ask him for advice. So, you know, guys, there's so many ways you can go about it. I just feel that it's just a money mechanism scheme. So yeah. Okay, so let's begin. Let me find the best CV that I could use. Actually, I found something over here, so let me just go there, and yeah, here you go. So if I just zoom in, I kind of really like the CV. It looks a bit complicated, but at the same time, it's pretty easy to crack. So let's just take this. I'm just going to keep this over here for my reference. Okay, let's delete this. Now, obviously, just a disclaimer, I'm not going to do this like exactly how it is. I'm just going to show you how you can do it. It's just a waste of time if I have to create this from scratch when I don't even need a CV right now. I need A4 and I needed portrait. I'm doing this really quickly just so we have a brief overview on how to create it. I think this is fine. Let's just make this probably this blue. Here you go. And I can make everything uppercase. Now I can just write hello. So let me just reduce this text now. Let me try using Helvetica. I personally really like Helvetica. Obviously, once you make the CV, just try making something that fits to what you want and what you want to achieve. I can just add a table. And then what I can do is I can put no borders. I can do shade black, center align. There you go. So now it's even equally dispersed and aligned, and that's it. I didn't have to do anything else. I'm just going to make these boxes. Guess what I'm going to do next? If you guessed I'm going to use the ink drop tool, correct. If you didn't guess that, you need to do the tutorial again. I'm not going to put all the text, guys, because again, that's just going to be super time consuming. Just going to put it just enough so you guys understand what I am doing. So I'm going to do that. I'll make another copy of this. You obviously need to be very careful in all these things, as you can see. Obviously, this is one way. The other way you can do this is by actually creating a pie chart on Excel. Add a circle, going to make it white, and then just gonna add it at the center. My travels and find a gray map. That's it. And guys, look how easy it is. Just gonna make it a little thick. Gonna make it black. People really underestimate PowerPoint. It's insane. Let me just do Photoshop and Illustrator. That essentially aligned as well. Add a very light gray shade. Copy the same thing and put it on top with the desired color. And now let's find a star. Remove the border. I'm gonna put English. Guys, just look how it's shaping up. Centrally align, always centrally align, don't forget. I'll just do that. And I'll put my interests. Guys, it's always in the details, so don't forget, the more effort you put into making your CV as symmetric as possible, the better it will look. Let's see what's a perfect fit. So that, and that. So it's music, plant, here, and then cook. Here you go. There you go, guys. It is that easy to make a CV. Like, I cannot stress enough. So that's it for today. I hope you like it. Leave a comment below if you have any questions about whatever I explain, and I'll be happy to respond to you. So feel free to do so. Stay tuned for my next episode. It's going to be super interesting. It's how to make your LinkedIn stand out and just general trends about video interviews. Stay tuned, stay safe, stay home, and hopefully we recover from this pandemic very, very soon. Bye.